Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, Oh Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, Oh Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, Gaura 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 Hari, Oh Gaura 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 Hari, Nitai Gauranga Jaya Gaura Hari, Oh Nitai Gauranga Jaya Gaura Hari, Gaura 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 Hari, Oh Gaura 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 Hari, Nitai Gauranga Jaya Gaura Hari, Oh Nitai 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 Nitai, Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Oh Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Swami Prabhupada ki Jai Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtota Sati Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srila Sri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Shri Gaurdana ki Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Nityananda Prabhu ki Shri Chaitanya Parasubhadra Maharani ki Ragamai ki Purnamai ki Tulsi Devi ki Bhakti Devi Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Rajpuri Shri Damodar ki Navali Mayapur Gangamai ki Tulsi Devi ki Jai Bhakti Devi ki Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanand Gaur Purnima Maha Mahotsava ki All glories to the Samudra All glories to the Samudra All glories to the Samudra All glories of love to Shri Guru Gaura All glories to the Prabhupada Hare Krishna, so we will sing Shri Guru Vandanashta. But is the Gauranga karuna karo dinahina jane Mosamapatita Prabhu nahi tribhuvane Gauranga Gauranga karuna karo dinahina jane Mosamapatita Prabhu nahi tribhuvane Gauranga karuna karo dinahina jane Mosamapatita Prabhu nahi tribhuvane Tante trinatori Gaura Taki he tomar Kripa kori esho amar Hridaya mandire Tanta trinatori Gaura Dakite tomar Kripa kori esho amar Hridaya mandire Chadidaya na koribe Patita dekhiya Patita pavana nama Kishera lagiya Chadidaya na karibe Patita dekhiya Patita pavana nama Kishera lagiya Potechi pavatu pane Nahi kanishtar Shri charana taranida Netase koropar Potechi pavatu pane Nahi kanishtar Shri charane tarani tanae Tase korapar Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daseranudas Pratana Karaye Sada Narotamadas Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daseranudas Pratama Karaye Sada Gauranga karuna karo dinahina chane Mosamapatita Prabhu nahi tribhuvane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Patita Pavana Gaura Hari, Patita Pavana Gaura Hari. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Die Übersetzung lassen wir dann auch noch. So this song that we just sung was composed by Narottam Das Thakur, yes, one of the great acharyas of our line. And the translation is as follows. O my dear Lord Gauranga, please show your mercy to this lowly and destitute soul. O Lord, there is no one more fallen than myself in all the three worlds. Holding grass between my teeth, O Lord Gaura, I am calling out to you now. Please be compassionate upon me and come to reside within the temple of my heart. If you do not give your mercy, seeing how fallen I am, then why are you known as Patita Pavana, the merciful Savior of the fallen? I am plunged amidst the violent hurricane-stricken waves in the ocean of this material world, from which there is no escape. Kindly give me the gift of your divine lotus feet, which are compared to a boat in which your servant may cross over the ocean of birth and death. Narottam Das, the servant of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, ceaselessly makes this prayer. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Sorry, I just need to check the sound, and I think then we can go.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Small associations with Prabhupada.
Yeah, I think it should work. Okay. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Sri Gaura Purnima Mahamahotsava ki jai. So we don't have a... Ja, müsste jemand anpassen. Ich habe jetzt keine Zeit mehr gehabt. Wie? Well, we'll anyway hear mostly from Srila Prabhupada. So, we initially actually Gaura Hari Prabhu from Golokadam was supposed to be here, but then that plan changed, so he would otherwise be sitting here giving the class. And I thought it's a nice opportunity to hear from Srila Prabhupada. And instead of just playing the lecture, I thought that we can have a short introduction and also maybe a discussion, hopefully after the class. If we just listen to the class, it might be a little bit abrupt, because we are here now and the class has been recorded somewhere else. And in order to tune in, I thought what we can do is to get some context of where is this lecture happening, what's the circumstances, etc. And I wanted to ask you first, what do you think Srila Prabhupada, he came to the West in 1965, and basically from 66 onwards he was preaching regularly to his disciples. So 66, 7, 8, 9, 10, meaning 70, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12 Gaur Purnim festivals. What do you think, how many Gaur Purnim lectures do we have recorded of Srila Prabhupada? You didn't find any? Okay.
I also heard yesterday one in Mayapur.
Yeah, there is actually only one recording. You can find other recordings, for example, in 72, when Mayapur, but maybe one thing that has to be mentioned, Prabhupada used to visit Mayapur the last few years in his manifested pastimes. He was always in Mayapur, I think, I'm correct. So for 3 years he was just in Mayapur, and still we only have one recording on the actual day where he speaks about festival, or which is the festival lecture, but it's 76. There's another one in 72, but it's not really a lecture as such, because many of these other sannyasis, from different Gaudiya mats around in Mayapur now, they came, and many of them, they glorified Srila Prabhupada. There was initial phase of building up the Mayapur temple. So they, I think it was 72, must have been also the groundbreaking, where they installed Ananta Shesh, but there is not really a lecture. And I just wanted to share this inspiration with you of listening to Srila Prabhupada, and especially I found not only just listening, but making an endeavor to try to understand, to study Srila Prabhupada's words. And I was thinking about this, how can I personally go deeper into understanding Srila Prabhupada's teachings in written as well as spoken form. And I was doing some research of how can one study a text in depth. And there's different methods, but I came across one where basically what they try to do when they hear from someone or they read a text, they analyze different things in order to go deeper. And one of these things is to put everything in a context, meaning to understand. Let's say you read a book, to get the context. Who is writing this book? When is he writing that book? What are the circumstances around, etc., etc. There's many factors one can take into consideration. And I was, so this is 76, and maybe I can give a few words of the context from the Prabhupada Lilamrita, and then we can watch the following Srila Prabhupada about this. There's a lot of recordings of this time around the Mayapur festivals in 76, and then we can listen to the lecture. So 76 in the Lilamrita, the chapter which describes the time of Srila Prabhupada's Leela is called, let me just look it up, not that I say something wrong. It's chapter 49, so it's quite in the end of the Lilamrita. And the title is India Unifying ISKCON. Unifying ISKCON. And what's basically described is that Srila Prabhupada, he, in 75, he became very clear to his disciples. He said, I don't want to manage anymore. I only want to focus on translating the books. And he established the GBC actually way before. I think he formally constituted the GBC in 1970, if I remember correctly. But then it is said here in the Lilamrita in 75, Srila Prabhupada really tried to withdraw from management and hand over the responsibilities to the GBC members. And it's described how Srila Prabhupada was focusing on translating Srimad Bhagavatam, and he was translating, anyone has an idea which canto he must have been working on at that time? 9? 7. Canto 7. So, canto 7 is, you remember what pastime? Nishingadev. So Srila Prabhupada was translating that 7th canto, but what happened, even though the GBC was supposed to take care of all these managerial issues, most of the time devotees would go to Srila Prabhupada and ask him for advice and complain. No, many things would be complaints. And Srila Prabhupada, as it is stated, said, I don't want to get involved in that. Let's discuss at the GBC meetings in Mayapur in 76. And so these GBC meetings came, and Prabhupada spent around 2 months in Mayapur. It's a long time. And before the festival. So before the festival, like now also, some of us have been in Mayapur. Devashri Radhika was there. Myself, Krishna Prema Prabhu is still in India. So that's still the tradition in ISKCON, that you have the GBC meetings before the festival, even nowadays. And Prabhupada instituted that system. And so the time came, and why is it saying in this chapter unifying ISKCON? Because the problem, any idea what could have been the problem in ISKCON at that time? Yeah.
Guru problems?
Guru problems? No, that. No. The problem was that there was a conflict between the sannyasis and brahmacharis and the grihastas. Basically the sannyasis, which were the GBC members mostly, they complained to Srila Prabhupada about the grihastas, that they are in Maya, that they are not preaching enough, that they are a burden to the society, etc., etc. I'm not going to go into detail, but that's interesting to note what's kind of the circumstances at that time. And Srila Prabhupada unified ISKCON, so he was able to put these two fractions together, of course, having a transcendental vision and seeing what's the issue. He put them together. What do you think, how many devotees were in Mayapur for that festival? Nowadays, how many people go to Mayapur for Gaura Purnima? I've like 100,000 maybe or more. No, I mean all Bengalis. And it's a lot. You have been there, Gaura Purnima? That time it was kind of just fields and not many buildings. We will see now in the video. Yes, that was 76. Yeah, maybe we have a mic you can explain.
His Grace Kripa Mahaprabhu was telling this story. He was on that airplane. So they hired a full airplane from the US, and then they landed in London and maybe some other place and picked up devotees. So in total there were 500 devotees on this plane, and they were dancing in the plane. And then the pilot gave a message through. He said, "You have to sit down, the plane is rocking."
Krishna.
So then they went with the airplane to Calcutta and attended the festival and went back. So at least 500 devotees from the West.
Yeah, different times in ISKCON, they would be so united. We're hearing about unifying ISKCON, but that time they were so unified that they could rent the airplane together and all go to Mayapur together. Nowadays, everybody takes his own plane and travels alone. They say 1,000 devotees came. It's a lot, 1,000 initiated devotees mostly. So I'm going to just play the video. You might wonder, it's Mahaprabhu's appearance day, why I'm doing this. And we will hear in the lecture of Srila Prabhupada, we cannot understand Mahaprabhu without the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We cannot understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without the mercy of Prabhupada. There's this song, Yadi Gaura na hoito, tabeki hoito, kemone daritang de. This song, how can we understand Radharani's greatness without Mahaprabhu's mercy? Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. How can we understand Srimati Radharani's greatness without Mahaprabhu's mercy? He came to reveal that. And then Jayapataka Maharaj, he wrote a song Yadi Prabhupada na hoito. What if Prabhupada didn't appear? And during my travels in India, in Mayapur, especially in Kolkata, I just came to understand for myself again that what Prabhupada did is just mind-blowing and amazing, and we should be very grateful and always take shelter of Srila Prabhupada by listening to him, trying to understand him, trying to follow him, and then we can also understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is following Srila Prabhupada. I'm not sure. I have to plug it in. It's without subtitles, so I hope you will understand it.
Small associations with Prabhupada.
You know, always when we want to do something, it's not working. And we just bought this new screen in the first floor. Sometimes I'm wondering, we should just stop all of this nonsense.
Small associations with Prabhupada.
Second time around, Hari Sarpu leaned over the balcony and yelled down to me, "Hey Prabhu, you're chanting too loud." Just
Can you hear it enough? Because this loudspeaker doesn't work, and the other one we usually use is in Geneva. Okay, I'll just play it.
Small associations with Prabhupada.
once again,
Why is it not showing now? No, but now it doesn't show the video anymore. For PowerPoint. Yeah, now.
Small associations with Prabhupada.
I mean, I don't understand why it's not working. It's really strange. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Ja, das Problem ist, der Bildschirm ist nicht verbunden, weißt du? Jetzt. Also ich probiere jetzt mal noch YouTube.
with Prabhupada.
I was getting up early most of the time, probably just because of jet lag, but I didn't think it was jet lag back in those days.
Aber das kann es doch nicht sein. Jetzt ist wenigstens nur noch der Ton. Okay. Ich glaube, das kann ich lösen.
The second time around, Harisaku leaned over the balcony and yelled out to me, "Hey, Prabhu, your chant too loud is disturbing Prabhupada's translations." So I was immediately
So, what should I do now?
shocked, thinking, oh no, I've offended Prabhupada. I was like,
I'll just speak about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu now. I mean, what we should glorify him, and if it's not working, what can I do? I can read some of Prabhupada's lecture. I have it printed. Maybe somebody can try to fix it up, and I will just speak something. It's very annoying.
I was thinking, well, there, so
How is this working? It's not connected and still playing. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada in this lecture, he starts with a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 9. So he was just translating.
Marty came and they made the announcement, so Prabhupada and Mars at the time.
He was just translating that 7th canto. It was not yet published, and he did that often. You see that Prabhupada would, like a teaser, give the devotees some new verses, new parts from the scriptures which they don't know. And this 9th chapter is Prahlad Maharaj, how he is praying to Nishingadev. Maybe some of you have some gadgets on your phone. You have your phones. You can open Vedabase. It's 7th canto, 9th chapter, text 38. Versuche. Nein, wir müssen es auf dem Bildschirm. You have to figure it out. I'll just speak now. So this verse goes, Itang nritiryagrishideva chasavatarair lokan vibhavayasi hangsi jagat pratipan dharmang mahapurusha pasi yuganuvritam channa kalo yat abhavas triyugo tasatvam. And translation: In this way, my Lord, you have appeared in different incarnations, as human beings, as animals, as a great saintly person, as demigods, and as a fish and a tortoise. In this way, you maintain the whole creation in different planetary systems and kill the demoniac principles in every age. My Lord, you therefore protect the principles of religion. In the age of Kali, you do not assert yourself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore you are known as Tri-yuga, or the Lord who appears in 3 yugas. It's pretty significant, this word in this verse, Channa Kalo, and Prabhupada will speak about it now. Srila Prabhupada starts. So here is a very specific statement about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Avatar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he is Channa. Channa means covered, not directly, because he has appeared as a devotee. Rupa Goswami has found out that he is avatar of Krishna. All the devotees, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Rupa Goswami, and in the Shastra and the Upanishad, Mahabharat, in every sadhu Shastra, avatar should be confirmed by great devotees, personalities, and must be collaborated with the statement in the Shastra. Prabhupada is of course following the tradition that if we speak about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then we have to base that on the scriptures. And he's using Prahlad Maharaj, his prayers in the 7th canto, where Prahlad Maharaj speaks about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Did you know that? That Prahlad Maharaj spoke about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Probably not, but it's the fact here. He speaks about Channa Kalo, that Krishna appears in Kali Yuga, Kalo, in a disguised form, Channa. Some days ago we had some discussion and we tried to understand what's right and wrong. And sometimes we have a tendency to introduce our own opinion into the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. But Prabhupada, our acharyas, they show us that this is not the way how to do it. And why? It is described in the scriptures that the conditioned living entity has 4 faults. Brahma, Pramada, meaning makes mistakes, is mad in illusion, has imperfect senses, and is cheating others. So every conditioned living entity has these faults. But only in the Shastra we find, and in the pure devotee, in the sadhu and guru, we find that they don't cheat, they don't have imperfect knowledge, etc. But they speak only from the that the sadhu also speaks from the Shastra, and the Shastra, they come from the Supreme Lord, so they are the truth, the absolute truth. Then Prabhupada quotes another verse from the same Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangopangascha Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtanai Prayair Yajantihi Sumedasaha. Here is a direct description of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he comes not in a blackish form. Krishna doesn't come in a blackish form. Yeah, he comes again in a covered form, and he will come to perform the Sankirtan Yagya. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srimad Bhagavatam has been written way before Mahaprabhu appeared. Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years ago, and the Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled around 5,000 years ago. And that's the proof that the scriptures, they know past, present, and future. Is it working now? Should we try one more time? It's from your phone. Okay. Yes.
I was getting up early most of the time, probably just because of jet lag, but I didn't think about it as jet lag back in those days. Got up early, was checking early in the temple. Must have been around 3:30 in the morning. I used to chant very, very loud. second time around, Hari Sadhu leaned over the balcony and yelled down to me, "Hey Prabhu, you're chanting too loud, it's disturbing Prabhupada's translations." So I was immediately shocked, thinking, oh no, I've offended Prabhupada. That was the last thing I wanted to do, come there and offend the spiritual master. So I was in really anxiety the whole morning. Then Mangalarti came and they made the announcement. So Bhavanan Maharaj at the time was saying that somebody was chanting so loud, their job was to disturb Prabhupada's translations. So that made my anxiety multiply. So then Prabhupada was giving class, and he was speaking on Nrsingadev and Prahlad Maharaj. I think that particular verse was the verse where Prahlad was sitting on Lord Nrsingadev's lap, and Nrsingadev was patting Prahlad Maharaj on the head. And Prabhupada was saying how chanting Hare Krishna is the same as when Nrsingadev patted Prahlad Maharaj on the head and touched him and purified him. When we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna is dancing on our tongues. And he was looking from one side to the other, and he finally came around to my side where I was standing, and he looked me right in the eyes. And I felt this transcendental potency from Prabhupada come and just bathe me and cleanse me of all that anxiety. And as he was looking at me, he was speaking that, do not think that the Hare Krishna mantra is a material sound vibration. It's not. It's spiritual. It's perfect. But I took it that I was chanting too loud, not really understanding the potency of the holy name, that I needed to really deepen my understanding of chanting. So then when he looked at me, it was just so amazing. It was like a forgiving type of glance. And the effect was definitely forgiving because I just felt purified. It wasn't like he took offense or anything. Just looked and purified me and gave me a little instruction within the general instruction of the class. So it was wonderful.
Srila Prabhupada was actually always anxious about getting people to be attracted to Mayapur. He said Mayapur should be connected by road, by water, by air, and rail. These connections to Mayapur should be made. And he often used to say, we have a nice temple here. He said, why no one is coming? He would often express his concern like that. One occasion I heard him, before he gave Bhagavatam class, he said, why no one is coming? We have a nice temple, nice facility. Why no one is here? And then later on more people started coming, and Srila Prabhupada used to often sit in the evening, like 4 or 5 o'clock. He would sit on the second floor of the Lotus building on the veranda. He used to look over towards the main gate, and you just see all the people coming in. He was happy to see that gradually more and more people coming as he is, were coming on. But he had big ideas for expanding. He always had big ideas.
Preaching, and at that time the first contingency of devotees was assigned to go to China. first attempt at China. So it was really a big year, and Srila Prabhupada was in very exceptional spirits. And when you came around him, you were brought towards that plane of Krishna consciousness where nothing could be better, the days couldn't be better, your life couldn't be better. And at this particular festival, that experience was at its optimum. And of course there's the footage of Srila Prabhupada ringing that bell on the side of the deities and circumambulating with the devotees and raising his hand up for the devotees to jump. And when he would do that, it was such an ecstatic, emotional moment. And everyone seemed to become filled with that, what sometimes is described as indescribable joy of Krishna consciousness, just due to his association. So for everybody who came to the festival, it was a most wonderful experience. And then gradually the day of Gaura Purnima did arrive, and there was that initiation. One by one, Srila Prabhupada would call the devotees. When it finally came to the sannyasis, he would call them, and he would give them their danda, and he would announce where they would be preaching. So there were 7 of us, and everyone, one by one, when they received their beads or their thread or their danda, Srila Prabhupada had this exceptional smile on his face of satisfaction. And particularly when it came to the sannyasis, because the sannyasis are the symbol of the preaching endeavor of the Sankirtan movement. The dress, their lifestyle, everything symbolizes that endeavor to take Krishna consciousness throughout the world, to every town and village, although every man, woman, and child in the Krishna consciousness movement is engaged in that. The sannyasis are at the forefront, and they are the symbol of that endeavor. They are there on call 24 hours a day for that purpose. And Srila Prabhupada expected of them leadership in that role, particularly of preaching and spreading the Sankirtan movement. Some years earlier, he had expressed a desire that I would like an army. I want an army of sannyasis. So it was a couple years before I heard that, and I thought I would like to join that army. So that was 7 new sannyasis on that day. That was a big step forward in building that preaching army. So he was very, very happy, very pleased about that.
There was some controversy at the time about the Radha Damodar party, and that culminated in Tamal Krishna Maharaj accepting an assignment to China. And he had asked that I accompany him, and Prabhupada had approved. So then that next morning for the sannyas initiation, there was Guru Puja, and I got to lead it. And I was playing Madranga, and I was jumping up and down and leading everyone around and circumambulation Purnima of the temple. And Prabhupada would stop and play the bell every time he got by the deities. So then later on that morning, Tamal said, I want to go up and talk to Prabhupada about China. So we went up, we went through his room to the back. He was sitting on the mat. Hari Shari was massaging with oil. And Prabhupada looked up, and Tamal said, Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada looked past him at me and said, if you lead kirtan like that, the whole world will follow.
I was seated with Lakshminath Prabhu, and we were seated on a bench on the balcony just beside the stairs on the Lotus building on the first floor. And we were chanting our japa. It was during the japa period in the morning. And I imagine that the person who was in charge of cleaning Srila Prabhupada's room was unavailable for some reason. So a devotee came running down the stairs, and there was another devotee sitting at the other end of the bench. So this Prabhu came down and asked him first, Prabhu, we need somebody to clean Srila Prabhupada's room. Could you come up and clean his room? And the devotee answered, I have to finish my rounds. And Lakshminath and I couldn't believe what we had just heard, because in those days there wasn't much to do in Mayapur besides chant rounds, so he had all day. And so we just looked at each other, we were like, we'll do it. So we jumped up, we ran up the stairs, and we helped this devotee. We got to make Srila Prabhupada's bed that he had slept in that night. We swept his room, and we were able to get a nice big dustpan full of dust from the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, and not missing an opportunity, we hung our heads over the balcony and we poured the dust over both of our heads and really massaged it in. And we felt ourselves to be the most fortunate people on the planet.
Everybody was talking about this one devotee named Anantaram Shastri. He was a Vaishnava. He was a great Sanskrit scholar. The title Shastri is a title that's given to people who have received some degrees in Sanskrit learning. And he could literally read Sanskrit just like we read English. And he could speak Sanskrit and everything. So when Prabhupada heard about him, he brought him to his room and he was preaching to him. And at one point, Prabhupada wanted him to come and assist him to translate some of the Sanskrit purports of the Acharyas. Not that Prabhupada needed help, but he was trying to engage him. So every night, Prabhupada told his devotee they would go around the Mayapur temple with cow dung and some incense and conch shell. And they would chant the Purusha Sukta and take this cow dung and incense to chase the mosquitoes with this devotee chanting Sanskrit. And Prabhupada was very happy with that. They would go to all the floors. And also every morning, this devotee, before the Bhagavatam class, would chant certain Sanskrit hymns. He had composed a Bhaktivedanta Stotram, or a hymns of praise to Prabhupada. It was very melodious and very sweet. And Prabhupada wanted the devotees to learn a few verses from that. Prabhupada says these verses should be taught to the Gurukul children and to the devotees. There was one prayer, Krishna Kacheta Madamoha Mavinasakari. There's like 4 or 5 prayers. The entire Stotram was like 23 verses, but it was 6 specific prayers that Prabhupada wanted devotees to learn. Because what happened is, several months later, when I went to Vrindavan, we taught some of these Sanskrit prayers to the Gurukul children, and we chanted in front of Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was just very happy with that. But those particular prayers were a major contribution that Prabhupada greatly appreciated and wanted that introduced, and some devotees still chant those.
I spent a month as Prabhupada's servant prior to the 76 Mayapur festival. I had been studying Sanskrit, so I knew quite a few verses, and one of my favorite verses, if not my favorite verse, is Kechit Kilaya Bhaktya Vasudeva Parayana Aghang Dhundwanti Karsena Niharam Eva Bhaskara, which means that for the unalloyed devotee, Krishna dispels the sins, just like the sun dispels the fog. So we were walking on the roof of Mayapur, and in the morning in Mayapur, for anybody who's visited Mayapur, they've probably seen the fog that hangs over all the rice paddies. Bengal is just this wonderfully lush country, and in Mayapur is this flat country where you can see for miles. But sometimes there's this fog that lingers over the top of the rice paddies. And sometimes it can be just incredibly beautiful, and the sun is coming up, so you can see the action of the sun clearing the fog, and it's just incredible, the whole scenery. So one time Prabhupada was walking on his morning walk, and he stopped and he paused and looked out over this panorama and indicated with his sweep of his hand the sun, and then he said, Kechit Kilaya Bhaktya Vasudeva Parayana, the first line from this verse, indicating that Krishna is like the sun who dispels the fog of our sins. It's just an incredible, wonderful experience.
Vishnu John had asked Prabhupada on a morning walk on the roof of the building, how was Chotahari Das delivered by committing suicide after his offense? So Vishnu John had been thinking about that question probably for days. He said, Srila Prabhupada, can I ask a question? And his voice cracked while he said it. And I looked up because his voice was so emotional. And Prabhupada looked at him and he said, yes. And then he asked him that question. And then Prabhupada said something to the effect that, yes, if a sannyasi does that, if he has illicit sex, then it is better that he kill himself. And while he was talking, Vishnu John looked away. He looked off to the side. And then Prabhupada said, but that is an exemplary punishment. It is not meant to be taken literally. And he stopped and walked on. And Vishnu John never heard the last part of the answer. Something happened, and he was feeling very guilty and bad about it. I marked, that's why he's been different since I saw him on the way from New York. He was pale, and he was staring off into space, and he looked completely distant and detached from his surroundings. And I had never seen him like that in years. He was always energetic, enthusiastic, had a lot of effulgence, and he was busy. I grew up with him. We played in Grandma's backyard from the time we were a year old together. He and I had a significant thing. We lived in the same house in the Haight-Ashbury. He joined 6 months before I did. If it hadn't been for him, I probably never would have become a devotee. The last thing Vishnu John said to me was, whatever you do, try to do something beautiful for Prabhupada. I told him I do. Anyway, I don't see Vishnu John again until the walk. After he asked that question, I marked heart. He's thinking about suicide. You have to talk to him. He didn't hear the end of the answer. So I'm thinking, as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to talk to him. By the time the crowd dispersed, we got down to the morning program, which was right afterward. I didn't see Vishnu John at the program. He disappeared. I never set eyes on him again. I never got a chance to talk to him.
Most of the visiting women were asked to help in the kitchen cutting vegetables for the daily cooking. So I would go down and cut vegetables, but at a certain time I knew was the time when Srila Prabhupada was coming back from his morning walk, so I would desert my post and run down to the main gate and see Srila Prabhupada coming with a small group of devotees across the fields. And the morning sun in Mayapur is very warm and it has kind of a golden radiant look, and this beautiful morning sun would shine on Srila Prabhupada's face, and he just looked especially beautiful in the morning sun.
I made my way to the veranda outside of his quarters, and there I saw a long line of devotees, and I was told they were all waiting to get into darshan. But I sat down anyway and waited. And then someone from inside the darshan room came out and said, "There's room for one more person to go in." And I immediately stood up and said, Me, I want to see Srila Prabhupada. She said, "Okay, you." And all of those devotees who had been waiting longer than me, I walked past them and in to see Srila Prabhupada. I had these bananas. I felt so lucky. So I walked in the door, and there was Prabhupada sitting behind his little desk, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if proper etiquette was to offer my obeisances first and then give him the bananas, or to give him the bananas and then offer my obeisances. I was very confused. I looked at Srila Prabhupada and he smiled at me, and I felt, oh, he knows me. I knew that he could see that I was very confused and didn't know what to do, and the smile was not only of welcome, but it was some amusement also to see me in such a state. But I felt like he was looking at me and no one else but me, and he was welcoming me as his daughter, and he was so happy to see me that it had been a long, long time, and we were finally seeing each other again. That's how I felt, that it was a great distance, a great time had elapsed, and we were once again united. I don't remember if I offered my obeisances or gave the bananas first. The next thing I remember is I was making my way to the back of the room where I sat and listened to him speak. Truly, I don't remember anything that was said in that darshan, but I was happy just to be there in his presence and to hear him speaking.
It was just so beautiful in Mayapur, the wheat fields and the rice fields and the banana trees and the birds flying. And one day I went with a small group of people down to the Ganges. We went out into the water and sat down, bathed in the Ganges. And I had another moment of that, just pure clarity that I had the first time I saw Srila Prabhupada. Just total peace, total clarity. I mean, you could see that the Ganges had silt in it and stuff like debris floating by. But that was only the outer, the visible things. There was a sensation or an experience of transcendence. It was wonderful.
At the Mayapur festival, Prabhupada had called in the leaders to his room, and he requested that they would pray for me and give their blessings that I was pioneering and taking great risk in the communist countries, shipping his books to people who he never thought would actually take them. And he was so happy that not only were they scholars, but they were behind the Iron Curtain, and they were so so favorable. And knowing that we were risking maybe our lives or could be put in jail, then Prabhupada asked the leaders that they give their blessings, that they make special prayers to Ganesha. So one or two of the leaders mentioned that Prabhupada, all that's needed is your prayers. You're Krishna's special servant. But Prabhupada distinctly said, no, you give your prayers and you give blessings, because Krishna, he will respond to the prayers of the devotees. And this was an example of Prabhupada's humility, and is also, I think, an example of him encouraging us that we need to be always thinking about the welfare of each other, work as a team, and trying to offer our service to him and to Krishna.
We were walking one time and Prabhupada said to build the buildings and people will come and...
So, the lecture is not so long, Srila Prabhupada. Again, forgive me that it's a little bit delayed due to the technical issues. It's, you could just Srila Prabhupada for Purnima, YouTube, and it will come in the first place. And after the lecture, I will show you a picture which is very special. It shows Prabhupada in this exhibition taking darshan of our Gaura ladies. There's a picture of that when he looks at Gaura.
The following is a class on Shri Gaur Purnima given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded on 16th March 1976 in Mayapur.
Translation. In this way, my Lord, you have appeared in different incarnations, as human beings, as animals, as a great saintly person, as demigods, and as a fish and a tortoise. In this way you maintain the whole creation in different planetary systems and kill the demoniac principles in every age. My Lord, you therefore protect the principles of religion. In the age of Kali, you do not assert yourself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you are known as Tri Yuga, or the Lord who appears in 3 yugas.
Nitijam Rishideva Dasavatari Lokan Vibhavayasi Hamsi Jagatpatipa Dharmang Mahapurusha Pasi Divani Vrittam Channakalo Jadabhavas Trijubhota Sattam. So, here is a very specific statement about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his avatar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is same Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he is Channa. Channa means cover, not directly, because he has appeared as a devotee. Avatar, Rupa Goswami has found out that he is avatar of Krishna. All the devotees, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Rupa Goswami, and the Shastra, the Upanishad, Mahabharata, and every Sadhu Shastra, the avatar should be confirmed by great devotees, personalities, and must be corroborated with the statement in the Shastra. So, here is another statement in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Directly, it is stated in the 11th canto, you know, Krishna Varnam Krishna Krishna Samapanga Sapasadam Jagai Sankirtanai Prahi Jaganti Sune. The Supreme Personality of not understand Krishna. When Krishna said, Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam, they took it, who is this person ordering like that? Sarvadharman. What right? That is our material disease. If somebody is ordered to do something, he protests. Who are you? The order. This is good. God himself, Krishna, what can he say? He orders. The Supreme Person, Supreme Being, he must order. He is the Supreme Controller. He must order. That is God. But we are so foolish that when God orders, you do this, we take it as with this man. He ordered like that. Sarvadharman Parityaja, giving up everything, why shall I give? Sarvadharman, I have created so many dharmas, issues, I shall give it up. Why shall I give? Therefore, the same Lord came again as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Today is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that we are today. So we must discuss very thoroughly. The Rupa Goswami understood that we have to go to the Guru. Rupa Goswami is our Guru. Narottam Das Thakur said, Rupora Gunato Pade Hari Vyatu. Nove Hama Bhujavasi. If we want to understand the transcendental position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we have to go through Guru Parampara system. Otherwise it is not. Rupora Gunato Pade Hari Vyatu. Unless we accept this process, unless we submit, this whole process is submission. Krishna wants this. Sarvadharman Parityaja. So, if you want to approach Krishna, you have to become very submissive. And to whom? Krishna is not here. To whom I shall submit? No, to his devotee, to his represented. The business is submission. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared this day for giving mercy to the foreign souls who are so foolish they cannot take to Krishna consciousness. He is personally teaching how to take to Krishna consciousness. That is this kirtan. You find you have seen the picture in our teachings are not taken that in Prayag he was engaged in chanting and Rupa Goswami is offering his provision. That is the first meeting with Rupa Goswami. And he composed this verse, Namo Mahabalanaya Krishna Prema Purayate. Krishna Chaitanya Chaitanya Krishna Paradattam Paramya. Paradatta, the Supreme Truth, is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Supreme Truth is Krishna. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Krishna. Na Chaitanya Krishna Paradattam Paramya. Jadadvaita Brahma Upanishadi. The Brahma Advaita monist Brahma, which is described in Upanishad, just that factor, Jadadvaita Brahma Upanishadi, Paramatma and the Paramatma, Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan. This is the three features of the Supreme absolute truth. Vadanti tattva vidas tatyam jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sarva.